All right, how's it going, everyone? We are back, day 7, path 17, and we are in the path of Zamradiel, or Zamradiel, however you want to say it. I say Zamradiel. Let's get started. Make sure you got a pen and paper if you want. Yeah, let's go. The 17th path transmits the influence of the lovers. Its tunnel is sentineled by Zamradiel, who is evoked by vibrating his name in the key of D. The sound should be accompanied by a hoarse cachinnation. His sigil should be painted in a tint approximating new leather yellow upon a vesica of mauve. His number is 292, that of Tzadi Resh Bet, the raven. Zarab, the blackbird of Set. Zarab also means evening. At sunset, the raven commences its predatory flight. Batsar, B. Bet Zadi Resh, a metathesis of Zarab, signifies gold. Bitzel? I forget. The metal associated with the twins Set Horus. Set's totem being the black bird, and that of Horus the golden falcon. The earlier twins, however, were Set and Anubis, the golden jackal who, with his dark shade, haunted the desert of the mummies, i.e. the astral shells left by those who had made the crossing and transcended the abyss. Also, let's go ahead and check out the card here. That way you can get it in the back of your mind while we're talking about it. Here you go. Screenshot that if you like. Okay. Moving urn. The sign of Zamradiel is composed of a lunar crescent pierced by an arrow shot from a bow, both ends of which terminate in the letter G. The transfixed moon is the crucified flesh. The crucified are those who have made the crossing of the abyss. The letter G, Gimel, signifies the camel, the ship of the desert, the vehicle by which the crossing is achieved. It is the letter of the high priestess. This tunnel concentrates the influence of Set via the black power zone Binah, that receives its light from the stellar sphere Hokmah, and raise it downward through the abyss. The 17th Kala is thus strongly charged with the atmosphere of Da'at and of death, both of which have close affinity with the lovers. The number 292 is also that of Khosar, which, as suggested in Cults of the Shadow, is probably connected with the name Choranzin, a corrupt form of it. The symbol of Khosar, or Chozar, Chozzar, resembles the astrological sign of Neptune, and according to Blavatsky, Secret Doctrine 2, 356, presumably chapter 2, page 356, I'm not sure. Khosar is called Neptune by the uninitiated. It is the symbol of Atlantean Neptune by the it is the symbol of Atlantean magic and its attribution to the second power zone, Hokmah, and highly significant because Hokmah receives an influx direct from Pluto, Keter. Michael Bertiow observes that Pluto being correlated to Neptune is pure sexuality, which in the Plutonic sphere is psychic and magical. This energy, which is called libido, is the most powerful force in the world and cannot be isolated with magical methods. It is also the foundation of the various natural fields of force, such as light, gravitation, electromagnetism, and it is a fact that the basic subatomic particle, being a functional photon, is in reality libido in an elementary form. What a concept. See note, Michael Bertiow, second year grade papers of the Monastery of the Seven Rays. See also Cults of the Shadow, chapter 2. This is the energy that powers the lovers of the 17th path, but in the tunnel beneath it, it has been transformed into the Resh Pe Vav Alet He, Rupva, Rufva. See, 292, a drug. Rufa, maybe? Rufua. Rapua, probably. And here's a acronym, APRVH, also 292, and a metathesis of Rapua means young bird. Okay. I'm assuming it's a plua, since bird is zipul. Anyway. Where was I? So, this is the energy, libido, that powers the lovers of the 17th path, but in the tunnel beneath it, it has been transformed into the Rapua, or drug of death, that is represented by the black bird of Set and the black pig of Typhon. Chozar means a pig. Chazil? Is it Chozar? I mean, it's the same letters. That makes sense. Okay, so Chozar or Kozar means a pig. It is very similar to Chazil in Hebrew. The creature was adopted as a symbol of the great work by the Typhonians because it was the only animal known to devour human excrement. Pigs are very draconic. The pig is symbolic, and so is the excrement, for it is not anal refuse that is veiled by this totem, but the blood of the moon, the human female flux in its dark phase. The symbolism was carried over into the 16th kala. Oops, gotta turn the page. I've got a weird little system here, so sometimes I'm on the back, sometimes I'm on the front. So, the symbolism was carried over into the solar cults of later ages. And at the time of the vernal equinox, the god Khonsu is depicted in the orb of the full moon, bearing in his arms the sacrificial pig. Note, see the planisphere of Dendera. Okay. The imbibition of the black wine of the moon prepared the initiate for the disintegration or crucifixion at Easter time. And this made possible the crossing over into the world of spirit or non-being. Man. There are so many things that our culture would consider taboo that our ancestors considered crucial for enlightenment and development. And man. Anyway, I digress. The Gnostics depicted Chozar, or Kozar, in the form of a serpent, whose stellar representative was Draco. The undulation of the serpent was an image of the periodic feminine flow. The mystery of this tunnel is glyphed by the sigil of its sentinel with the lunar crescent transfixed by the arrow. As Massey has shown, the first bow was drawn by the genetrix, and it came full circle into the cycle of gestation, hence the bow of Nath and the arrow of the goddess Seti. In Zamradiel's sigil, the moon is young and has not yet attained the fullness of gestation, which occurs after the lovers have emerged from the city of pyramids, Binah, into the desert of Set. The relevant verse from 231 reads, "Here then beneath the winged Eros is youth, delighting in the one and the other. He is Asar, Osiris, between Asi, Isis, and Nephthi, Nephthys. Osiris is the mummy, the dead one who was reborn in the spirit world, having been conceived by Isis and brought to birth by Nephthys." The magical city of this kala is, understandably, by location. Here symbolized by the mummy, Osiris, and the risen youth, Asi. This dual deity sometimes appears as the brothers, and sometimes as the lovers. the brothers being Cain and Abel, or Osiris and Set. Very interesting. It is from this tunnel that dark forces emerge and seep from the abysses of non-being, permeating the power zones of manifestation with the shadows of their absence. This doubling or dappling with light and shade is typified by symbolic hybrids such as the magpie, the penguin, the piebald, the parrot, the zebra. Did I really say zebra? The zebra. In fact, all dappled and chameleon-like creatures that have the apparent power of transformation. The order of Qliphoth ascribed to this realm is the Tzalalimeron. Tzalalimeron. The Changers. Tzalalimeron. It might, okay, it's either Tzalalimeron or Tzalalimeron. Anyway, Tzalalimeron probably. Anyway, the supreme totem of this tunnel is the hyena, and this realm is haunted by votaries of the Bultu, or spectral hyena, Bultu. Its cult is known to have existed in the Paleolithic age. It brought its totem out of Africa and spread it secretly all over the earth. Note: remains of hyena and various cult objects found in Tir Earl, modern Glamorgan, suggest that the cult spread even to Britain. Okay. It had its astral source in the tunnel beneath the path of the twins, the lovers, and was reflected on the earth plane at a place in Africa named the Kabultiloa. 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 The name means literally the shadow, Ka, of the specter or spirit, Loa, of the hyena, Bultu. Wow. Okay. Wow. I love language. Love language. The magical vibration of the cult was concentrated in the mantram Bultungin. 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 Maybe. Bultungin. A verb meaning I transform myself into a hyena. This was the atavism assumed by the spectral shape that formed itself of the elements of the 17th Kala, when the twin powers of love and death were fused into one image. See note. Eros equals libido and Da'at equals death. Okay. Its clefodic reflex was sucked out of space in the form of this creature by an adept who knew the sacred alignments. Note. The phrase is Austin Spars. S-P-A-R-E. Some people say Austin Spare. I believe it's Spar. So, its clefodic reflex was sucked out of space in the form of this creature by an adept who knew the sacred alignments and who vibrated the mantram that evoked it. This was achieved by fusing the twin serpents, Ob and Od, within the body of a priestess dedicated to the dark god of this Kala, whose name is now lost. This cult of the spectral hyena persisted when all other forms of its god had perished, and certain magicians and dreamers have received intimations of its existence through the centuries. Dr. John Dee, 1527 to 1608, who first called it down from the spheres of Da'at, from the spaces of Da'at, and historic times named it Koranzen. Aleister Crowley, who contacted it in our times, also called it Koranzen, while H.P. Lovecraft sensed it as the monstrous and amorphous slime known as Yog-Sothoth. See note, an amalgam of the god names Set and Thoth. According to a secret grimoire, the beast was called down not from known spaces, but from cells between them. This is getting very Lovecraftian, Eldrazi. The spaces between. So, while the Boltu drums beat offbeat rhythms, similarly, the latter Petro-rites of voodoo, in which the cult survived under another name, the alignments of the secret vivers. So I wonder if that's plural of veve. I don't know. The alignments of the secret vevers, vevers, flowed between the cardinal points, not through them. Man, this is useful if you have the gift of tongues and interpretation, so to speak. There's a lot you can do with this. And if you don't know, then you're not ready to know, more than likely. I hate to say and sound like that, but there are practices that if they don't make themselves known to you, then perhaps you need to make yourself known to them. I'll leave it at that. Okay. An entity appeared in answer to the call and crystallized about itself the spectral anatomy peculiar to the Boltu totem. It presided at a sabbat within the tunnels of the earth, and then it vanished. Remember, this is all symbolism. Nor did the beast appear again, even during the dark dynasties of Kem, when traffic with non-human entities was secretly undertaken in the cults of Tuart and Set. Taurt, T-A-U-R-T and Set. Having concentrated the essences of the Boltu within its eidolon, or specter, it secreted a subtle sperm that combined with the lifeblood of its consort to produce a magnetic salve, S-A-L-V, thus sealing the fire of the woman with that of the beast in a single substance. The times being right, and the space marks being established, a violent magical storm raged in the region of Kabul-Tiloa, where this monstrous rite was enacted. Ceaseless rains are said to have fallen in places that were rarely rained upon, and violent electrical disturbances in the atmosphere obliterated all traces of the event, allegedly. During the deluge, constant lightnings flashed and, penetrating to the caverns beneath the earth, struck the bride of the beast as she writhed in its embrace. Her body was instantly burnt to a cinder, and a small black stone slipped from her thighs. The two vital oils, fused at incredible heat, produced a talisman of incalculable power. The fire that blent the twin serpents of life, the bestial and the divine. Note, the woman was a priestess of Choronzon. The fire that blent the twin serpents of life, the bestial and the divine, set its seal upon the stone in the shape of a curious device, not unlike the sigil of Zamradiel, and a certain secret symbol known to have been used in the times of Atlantis in connection with the worship of Khosar. Note, it has been suggested, page 9, that Khosar was the original form of the name Choronzon. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reread that section so that it can be taken in as a vision, and less as a factual historical event. The times being right, and the space marks being established, a violent magical storm raged in the region of Kabul-Tiloa, where this monstrous rite was enacted. Ceaseless rains are said to have fallen in places that were rarely rained upon, and violent electrical disturbances in the atmosphere obliterated all traces of the event. During the deluge, constant lightnings flashed and, penetrating to the caverns beneath the earth, struck the bride of the beast as she writhed in its embrace. Her body was instantly burnt to a cinder, and a small black stone slipped from her thighs. The two vital oils, fused at an incredible heat, produced a talisman of incalculable power. The fire that blent the twin serpents of life, the bestial and the divine, set its seal upon the stone in the shape of a curious device not unlike the sigil of Zamradiel, and a certain secret symbol known to have been used in the times of Atlantis in connection with the worship of Khosar. This mystical koronograph, Keraunographh, this mystical koronograph therefore became the sigil of the Boltu. The seal adopted by the cult through succeeding eons, and it is said to exist at the present time in a secret sanctuary of voodoo known as Ville aux Champs. Villauxchamps. Villauxchamps. I really gotta learn French. Note, seat of the Order of the Shadow and site of the true Shambhala. See Bertia, grade papers MSR. Villauxchamps. I don't know. The tunnel of Zamradiel is under the aegis of the forces of Shigol Karanzen and their voodoo forms of Baron Samedi and Guide Nebo, Baronsamedhi and Guede-Nibho. The Baron represents the Saturnine aspect. Note, Saturn is ascribed to Binah. Another of his names is Cimetiere, Cimitiere, the place of the dead, or those who make the crossing into non-being. Hence, Baron Samedi is also known as Maitle Carrefour, Mater Carrefour, or Carfax. And Baron Samedi, I mean, it sounds a lot like Samadhi, but it's Samedi. Master of the Crossroads, Maitrecarrefour, Mater Carrefour, or Carafax. Master of the Crossroads, for at the junction of the four ways, the spirits of the living cross over into the realm of non-being, and vice versa. Note, the center of the cross represents the intersection of the plane of being by the other dimension that we can only name non-being. According to Plutarch of Isis and Osiris, chapter 49, among the meanings of the name Set Typhon are turning back and overpassing, i.e., in effect, passing or crossing over. Okay. Now, Guede, on the other hand, concentrates the eros libido element of the current represented by the lovers. Their stellar vehicle is Gemini, their planetary seat Mercury, the god who guides the dead in the underworld in the form of Shigol, whether as a fox, dog, jackal, or wolf, according to the appropriate local faunal types. Fauna, like flora, fauna. Guede-Nibho represents the dual polarities Ob and Od, and the forms of the life-giving odic force and the Obeah, or Ophidian current, manifest through the death and typified by the abhorrent Ganingub, Ganingub, Ganin-Gub. Note. See The Natural Genesis, Volume 1, page 300. Okay. Guede approximates to the Egyptian Khonsu, who is associated with the black pig or boar of Set, as previously mentioned. The name Nebo, meaning Lord, Nibho, derives from the Egyptian Neb, our Nib or Nob. Lord Guede is ascribed to the northern quarter, which in the present context is above Saturn and the stellar sphere, in the place of Da'at, buried deeply in the desert gulfs inhabited by the jackal of Set and the pig of Khonsu. Note, Binah and Hokmah respectively, Saturn and stellar sphere. Okay. One more page. Technically 2 pages, but. The Boltu is neither human nor animal, but an astral manifestation that feeds like a vampire upon the essential oils of its victims. As the spectral hyena, it fascinates by its glance, and then slakes its lust for blood. As the Ganon Gub, or serpent of Ob, it drinks the actual plasma of its victim's vitality, mingled with the menstruum of the priestess who has drained it into her chalice. Note, the vulva. Similarly, Baron Samedi draws sustenance from his victims in many forms, thus perpetuating a lingering half-life in dimensions outside the range of normal consciousness, but accessible to those who know the sacred alignments, and who know how to vivify the sigil of the Boltu, the sound of whose mantram can open the pylons of Shugal. You guys better figure out what the sacred alignments are. If you don't already know. The dual nature of the symbolism associated with Zamradiel accords with the nature of the Boltu, which, being of another dimension, is neither flesh nor specter, white nor black, human nor beast, but a combination of hybrid entities far surpassing in horror those described by the ancients as the products of a natural congress. In the offbeat rhythm of the Boltu drums, the sensitive ear may detect the mantram of ultimate abomination, the hideous symbol of which resembles the hyena fabled to have sprung from the union of the ravening desert jackal and the lioness of Ethiopia. Very interesting. The hyena is symbolic of all half-lives, all twilight and crepuscular states of consciousness, all crossed breeds interweaving, coiling, worming their ambiguous images into the flesh, and branding with the mark of the Boltu, the myriad forms it chooses as its vehicles. Primordial atavisms are unsealed by the beat of the Boltu drums. Hint, hint. Primordial atavisms are unsealed by the beat of the Boltu drums, and if used in connection with the tunnel of Zamradiel and the key of D, will snare the near or far. Those that hear it are compelled to attend the Sabbath over which Koranzan presides. Note from Zamradiel 19, after Zamradiel has been invoked. Okay. Primordial atavisms are unsealed by the beat of the Boltu drums, and if in used with conjunction the tunnel of Zamradiel being invoked in the key of D, will snare the spirits or frequencies of consciousness. This accounts in a phenomenal sense for the ominous appearances and banshees, the legendary beings ascribed to this path in Liber 777. In the earliest African myths, Oro, the Tempest, O-R-O, has affinities with the 17th Kala. On his feast day, he appears in the shape of a monster in human form with face and lips smeared with blood. Interesting. I'm not going to get into that right now. He bellows and screams like a fierce wind. The priests celebrate his mass in sacred groves where, concealed from the eyes of the uninitiated, they simulate his banshee howlings by the rapid twirling of a wooded clapper attached to a string. The primitive bull roar that appeared later in Egypt as the sistrum and the mysteries of Isis. So imagine tethers on a stick with knots, and as you spin it, they roar through the air, or they crack, 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 and slap back and forth, etc. Okay. In the voodoo system, the Marassas, or twins, M-A-R-A-S-S-A-S, are symbolized by a vever, V-E-V-E-R. Is that how you spell veve? Which is essentially a seal or a sigil. Interesting. I've never seen it spelled that way. Maybe it's something different. And the voodoo system of the Marassas, or twins, are symbolized by a vever which incorporates the 3 pillars of the Tree of Life. In Cults of the Shadow, I have reproduced an illustration of this viver, I think it might be Veve, by Michael Bertial, who has added the crossed baton of the magical Saturn, or Guede Nibo, so as to produce the model for the pathways of the Voltigeurs, as well as the pathways for the secret schools of voodoo initiation. See note Cults, page 171, presumably Cults of Shadow. Okay. This is of vital importance, for it demonstrates the points at which the leapers behind the tree traverse the gulfs of space without using the tunnels of Set, thus jumping the interstices as they leave one dimension and enter another. The spectral color of this path is reddish-gray, inclined to mauve. Gray tinged with red suggests the sphere of the stars. Note, Hokmah, the cosmic power zone of the Magus, associated with Neptune. Gray tinged with red suggests the sphere of the stars, suffused with the blood of Isis, Kali Mars. The inclination to mauve or lavender shows the movement of the feminine stellar current into the direction of Da'at. According to Crowley, lavender is attributed to Da'at. All right. Moving on to the Shadow Tarot. Again, here is the card. Zamradiel, the Shadow of the Lovers. Dark drum rhythms dissolve boundaries of the personal ego, expanding awareness into union with the daemon, or daemon, and opening to the power of the oracular voice. Twin double spirals, eyes of the death goddess, great lady of the night who sends the spirit north across the ocean, mark the entrance to the tunnel of Zamradiel, that dark abyss from which no man returns. Hung from its sigil are the lovers, priest and priestesses of the double current, Androgyne and Gyander, who are to undergo the ordeal of the abyss. Holding no part of passion back in fear, no part of themselves aloof from their experience, they have emptied their last drop of blood into the cup and hang like rotting meat into the peg in the dark caverns of Ereshkigal. Deep within the earth, here they await the beast of other dimensions, eater of lost souls, that scavenger who devours the last vestiges of human consciousness. The cup is fashioned of a skull of archaic Homo sapiens dating from 250 to 500,000 years before present. When stellar races first came upon the nascent earth, rests upon the sigil of that most ancient and puissant priestess of Voodoo, Ayizan. Ayizan. A-Y-I-Z-A-N. Ayizan? I don't know. Here invoked for inspiration and protection during the dread Sabbath over which Karanzan, bearer of the way into the city of the pyramids, again Binah, presides. Into the skull cup drips distillations of the secret caverns of earth, black wine of the moon, distilled from the body of the priestess. It is an hallucinogenic absinthe that will induce oracular voicings in the language of before being born and after dying. The priestess of the Boltu cult, having unsealed spectral atavisms by the power of the drums to snare the mind in the dark rhythms and to disintegrate the boundaries of ordinary ego consciousness, has assumed the were mask, W-E-R-E, like werewolf, were mask of the spectral hyena. Fusing the twin serpents of Ob and Od, merged with the beast within, she awaits the spectral beast. It's S/HE. They await the spectral beast, the other, the demon lover, with trembling expectation. Zamradiel meditation. The powers of Zamradiel include communion with remote strata of human consciousnesses, with the ability of trance-channeling. Here, too, we find the ability to combine male and female within oneself, to reunite with one's lost half, the lost lover, reintegrating the anima, seducing the Nahual, N-A-H-U-A-L, into sensible appearance, embracing the transpersonal shadow. Here is the power to distill the healing elixir, the philosopher's stone, the fountain of youth, through self-cultivation. Here, one finds one's voice through transcendence of the narrow personal ego, via the transcosmic dissolution and the boundaries of the soul, whose ultimate expression is infinite love. Here is evolution of consciousness through reconnection of the bicameral circuit, with the ability to spiral from remote pre-human consciousnesses into far-flung future hyper-expansion of mind, power, and awareness. There were like 6 hyphens in that one sentence. Need to work with the energies of Zamradiel is signaled by over-identification with one's sexual morphology, accompanied by an inability or unwillingness to understand alternative sexualities. Here we may find the fearful clinging to solar phallic consciousness that typifies 20th century chauvinism. There may be paralyzing fear of ego death, fear of the dark, or fear of the unknown within and without, falling victim to the terrifying voicings of Alalia. A-L-A-L-I-A. Okay. Moving on to the pathworking and the tunnels of Set. We're getting a little bit long in this video here. All right. Focus on the sigil of Zamradiel and chant or vibrate the name of the guardian to attune your subconscious mind to the energy of the tunnel. At the same time, envision the image coming alive, moving and growing until you see it spreading before you like a landscape you can enter. Visualize clouds of thick mist flowing through the image into your ritual space, enveloping around you and blurring the border between the planes. They carry the smell of fire and sex, decay and putrefaction, the womb and the grave. When you feel that the atmosphere in the temple has changed and your mind is ready to receive the vision of the tunnel, extinguish the candles, close your eyes, and send a message to the guardian to guide you on your journey. Visualize that for a moment everything fades away and the whole world disappears. Then the darkness around you crystallizes into a scenery. In front of you there is a huge cosmic egg with a serpent coiling around it. It is coiled 3 times, devouring its tail and transforming all the time. When you build this image in your mind, visualize yourself inside the egg. It is black and warm, and when you are inside, you can feel your energy rise in waves of heat and electricity. When you feel charged, use this power to break the egg and step outside. Now stand on the flat black surface in the heart of the void. In front of you, there is a naked, voluptuous woman with the head of an animal. This can be a pig, snake, dragon, etc. Let this vision unfold spontaneously in your inner mind. She is holding a scythe in her hand, and when she forms in front of you, she splits you in half with the scythe. In a mysterious way, you become 2 beings at the same time, with the ability to shift consciousness from one to the other. One of them is your animus, your masculine side. Project your consciousness to this body and meditate on how it is to experience this energy in its raw form, unbound to anything else. Then do the same with the second body. This is your anima, the feminine side. Open yourself to whatever thoughts, feelings, or emotions may come to you with this experience. Finally, let the 2 bodies merge into one. Visualize it as a sexual union, and if you want to, you can empower this experience by entering a sex magic trance. Do it from the perspective of the side you feel more naturally aligned to, and make love to your other side to absorb it into yourself. Let this experience last as long as you want. If performed properly, you should feel completely different, as if you were born anew and your old self ceased to exist. When the whole experience comes to an end, travel back to your body, close the working, and return to your normal consciousness. All right, that concludes Zamradiel. Questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comments. Yeah. Anything else, let me know. And yeah, have a good rest of the week. Take care, and see you soon. Bye.